And obviously, hopefully, you're all here for the webinar for the Digital Construction Worldskills UK competition. If not, and you were looking for one of the other many webinars that we're having, it might be, but I'm hoping you're all actually here for what we want to discuss today. What we were going to cover, looking through today, and obviously we are recording it, so if anybody misses the event, or anybody needs to drop off of the event or run away and go and do something else, everybody that's registered will be sent a link to this, and you get to watch back and have a little look back at it. Anything else that you want to just rewatch or get other information from, there is a question and answer session at the end. But again, do feel free. You'll have my contact details from this, and you'll be able to contact me at any time anyway. The plan was tonight to give you a little competition overview. I'll do that first, and then I'll introduce you to some of the industry partners that we have. So Laura James, who's head of Scotland from BakerHicks, Alisder Brown, principal BIM manager at BakerHicks, and Italia Nowodworska. I just call her Leah, much easier, right? Head of Information Management at Balfour, Beatty. And we have actually this year, Balfour, Beatty, BakerHicks and Autodesk sponsoring us this year. So it shows you obviously the need for industry looking at competition and the skills that we have in the competition and their need to help drive that competition. So I'll then go on and look at a timeline of the events for this cycle, for the 2022 competition cycle. I'll also introduce you to what learning resources and certification are available to competitors and educators. And then we'll hear from a past student, Isabel Barron, a student at Sheffield Hallam University, and her lecturer, so Jeff Olner, the senior lecturer, also at Sheffield Hallam University. So the competition overview, and I feel like I'm kind of right in the way there of blocking the sponsors this year, and we should make a big thing of that, just how important it is that the sponsors are involved this year for us. But in terms of the competition overview, I'm not sure whether everybody knows what Worldskills is. And there's a list here of half of the competitions, and if I skip through, you'll notice, so we've got 1 to 32, and then 33 up to 63 of the competitions that Worldskills UK take part in. And number 58 is the one that I'm interested in. So skill number 58 is digital construction. In 2018, that started out as the BIM competition, and then developed as BIM has also developed within the industry and has become a mainstream workflow within digital construction. So did our competition to actually reflect that. There are other competitions within there as well. You can see on the slides. We have aircraft maintenance, welding, cabinetry, cabinet making, floristry, and there's digital construction. The kind of key for me, obviously. But were you aware of there are others? So we've got mechanical engineering CAD. If we go back skill number 5, there's mechanical engineering CAD. There is 3D digital game art, web design, IT support, cyber security, some of the kind of key ones that I know personally, some of the competitors from. So it covers a huge number of skills within areas that we look at in each discipline or industry in the UK, that industry actually require these skills. What we do at Worldskills is we work with, you'll see here, the local industries, the national and international industries. So we can look at companies like BakerHicks and Balfour Beatty, for example. And with Worldskills work directly with them to help us design then the competitions, we are following the most up-to-date standards. It allows us to then benchmark student education, curriculum, and so on. So what we tend to find is, you'll see there's a mixture on the image, the spreadsheet in the background there, which is looking at the different tasks that might happen within the competition. And then you'll see how they're aligned to things like the Autodesk Certified User Program. We have a Worldskills passive competition, and I'm going to speak about that in a little bit later on here. We have a Worldskills national qualifier or regional competition, a Worldskills national final, Worldskills international, and they all align as well to the Autodesk Certified Professional certification. And it's no accident. All of these certifications and competitions are designed by the leading digital construction industries in the world and in the UK. And it's no accident that all of them reflect the same type of demand and skills. So we've adapted the competition and university college curriculum as well. We're looking at what skills do these companies need. And what you find is every 2 years, it says right in the middle, biennially, every 2 years, the competition is updated. Let's be honest, digital construction has changed enormously in the past 5 years, 10 years. It's remarkable just how much it's changed in the past 10 years. So if we look at that and say, when was the last time, if educators are in this call, when was the last time you updated your curriculum? Is your curriculum actually fit for purpose? And one of the things that we can do is we can adapt or mirror our curriculum to suit what the Worldskills competition skills test and what the framework is. So it's what we did at New College Lanarkshire. We worked with actually BakerHicks at the time, Alisder and Gary, and you'll hear from Alisder in a bit, to look at what the skills were that they needed within their company, and we pretty much created that competition. Now we also have people like Leah and her team involved, and we can adapt that competition and say, if it's needing updated, we update it now. So it's absolutely up to date, exactly the skills that the industry are looking for, and that's why people go to college and university, right? So what we find is, to kick everything off, registration has already opened. Some of you, if you're in this and your students have already registered for the competition. If you haven't, hopefully you're looking to do that after today's webinar, and you'll be given some homework and a task to do, which is go and register. You'll see that in a little bit. But we're having, obviously, March 24th kick-off webinar, this information session. On the back of this session, everybody that's registered, you'll see the green line along the bottom, will be given access to the online learning resources straight away. So if you've registered, tomorrow you'll get an email inviting you to join the online Moodle platform that you'll see today, and I'll show you a little demonstration of that. So the very first thing that you would then do, and you're working towards, you're going to practice in the learning resources that we'll make available to you. And on April the 20th, there is what we call a passive competition. It's very similar to the Autodesk certified user exam in that it is a task that you read. It's completely remote. You can do this in your college or university or at your home. You would open up a BIM execution plan, for example, and it will ask you what is the project number for this file, for this project. Type it into the space provided and then move on to the next question. Now, when I said after today you'll get access to the online learning materials, one of the things that you'll get access to is a practice area, exactly like the test is going to be, and I will show you that. You may be asked to open a Revit model, edit a wall style, draw in some walls. It'll ask you what the volume of the room is, for example, and then in the box provided you type in what the answer is. The practice resources will tell you what your score is, and it will tell you where your strengths are, and it will tell you where your weaknesses are. And wherever your weaknesses are, there are video tutorials to help you actually build on that. The actual passive competition won't tell you your score. I get to see your score, or the judges get to see your score. From there, the top 50 students, after the passive round, the top scoring 50 students get invited to the national qualifier competition. And the national qualifier competition is a one-day in-person / satellite competition. The way we're looking to run it this year is quite innovative. We will have host centres all over the UK, and wherever your closest host centre is, that could be Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, or some different regions, north, middle and south of England, wherever your closest host centre is, you'll be invited to go there on that day. All the host centres will join one interactive Zoom, so we'll all be connected to each other, and then you'll have a 5-hour competition. Again, in everything, all the training resources, we've got lots and lots of training materials on that. It's quite a way away, and obviously the first thing that we're thinking about is let's just focus on the passive round to begin with, but it lets us see what's going to happen for the national qualifier as well. And then after all those 50 students, or however many it might be, complete the national qualifier, the top 8 students will then be invited to take part in the national final. That's a 2-day clustered competition, and a cluster means that we're going to have several competitions all together. Now, the location for that's not been confirmed and the date hasn't been confirmed, but it will be in November, around about the middle of November, and it's 2 full days. So where we would look at the passive round is just some questions and answers. The national qualifier is a 1-day competition where you're being asked to model, work to a BEP and so on. The national final is very similar tasks, but just a much bigger building. If you are lucky enough to fall within a certain age range, we, up to this point in the UK, we don't have an age limit. Anybody can compete. You have to be on a level 6 course or below. If you've already graduated from a level 6 course and you've moved on to a level 7 course, or you're now working in industry, you needed to have completed that level 6 course within the past 12 months. So it's really aimed at students who are starting their journey. Doesn't matter what age you are, we're looking at students who are starting their journey in digital construction, starting their professional career. But if you are young enough and you score highly enough, you could be invited to join the international squad. So we have an age limit in that of it's going to be 22. 22 for this competition, because we're looking at in 2 years' time, you're going to be then 24, turning 25. And Worldskills say you're not allowed to be older than 25 in the year of that competition. If you're not, then this is the benchmark. We look here and we look at that national final. If you are, then there are other options and possible opportunities coming our way. So the other competitions that Worldskills take part in would be Euroskills, which is going to be in Poland next year. And that's, you'll notice a cycle happening here. There's a little bit of a pattern. Our 1-day competition became a 2-day competition. Euroskills is a 3-day competition. So the tasks that you're being asked to do would be developed a little bit more complex and just a bigger building again. And all the way up to Worldskills this year, Shanghai in October 2022, which is 4 full days. And again, looking at, we would then increase the complexity of the tasks, what the competitors are being asked to do, and the size of the building and so on. So this is an interesting one that I used in my class just recently, which is from a great little book called The Boy, a Mole, the Fox and a Horse. And what they're saying when they're stuck in a forest is, "I can't see a way through," said the boy. "Can you see your next step?" asked the horse. "Yes, then just take that. That's your next step. Never mind Shanghai. Forget about going to Poland. Register. If you haven't registered, then you can't compete." Okay, so if you register today, or you have already registered, tomorrow you will get an email inviting you to the NCL, New College Lanarkshire training resources. And then you're able to practice. If you register after tomorrow, then it will be next Friday before you get that email. So there's a whole week has passed. And then you'll have the opportunity to practice. And when we say your next step is register, if you've already registered, you're looking for that email tomorrow, and your next step then is just practice. I'm available to help. I'm available for any guidance or support anybody needs. And Phil has just put the registration link into the chat. And when we share the video, we'll make sure the registration link is also at the bottom of the video as well. Okay. So what I thought was, we would love to hear from the industry engagement, our sponsors this year. And unlike whenever you watch YouTube and we say, let's hear from the sponsors, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with the video, our sponsors have a lot to do with our video. So if I stop sharing my screen, I'm unsure who would like to go first. Leah, as a brand new involvement, absolutely first year involved from Balfour Beatty. I thought it'd be great to hear from you, to hear how everything kind of fits with what you do.
Excellent. Yes. So thank you very much.
Sorry, just a quick one. Mike, can you maybe spotlight?
Yes.
There
we go.
I am. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So hello, everyone. My name is Nowodworska. I'm the head of information management here at Balfour Beatty. And as you know now, this is our first time sponsoring this event, and we're super excited to be involved. We look forward to working with you and meeting with you face to face as the competition progresses. What I would say is, remember, although this is a competition, try to enjoy the experience and have fun. And the fact that you're participating alone is a positive step in forward in your career journey. So a little bit about the company. I don't have slides, apologies for that. But as we progress, I'm sure I'll sort of work with several of my team. So we've got Alan Duffy, we've got Dan King, we've got Sean Tumulty, and also Richard Snowden, who are design leads. So they're the BIM side, the design management side of things. So about the company, Balfour Beatty, there's 26,000 people in the UK, US and Hong Kong. We've got about 500 live projects in the UK. Two big ones that you probably know about are Hinkley Point C, which is our, the vacuum cleaner's just gone in our office, which is really great, isn't it? So that's our nuclear installation in Bristol, and HS2, which both are multi-billion-dollar projects that we're working on. Our UK business has around 5 petabytes of data in storage, and we have to be mindful of the life cycle of that data, the categorization and retention rules, and obviously, you know, you're working on ISO 19650, and that actually does come into play a lot when managing that data. And we also have many open positions in the UK, and we're always looking for talent. So thank you very much. It just leads me to say the very best of luck to you all, and hopefully we'll see you very, very soon. So that's
Awesome.
it from me. Thank you.
I loved you started with that. Have fun. The students that have participated before will tell you I try to make that as much as what we're doing as possible. It's stressful, of course it's stressful, but we try and do that in a good way. Perfect. Thank you very much. And then Laura?
Yes.
I will spotlight you. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, thanks for that, Michael.
You're welcome.
Myself up on the screen. Thanks for having me along this evening. BakerHicks are also a first-time sponsor of the Worldskills competition, but it is certainly not our first year of involvement in the competition or our long history with New College Lanarkshire. We have really seen the importance of this competition, hence why we decided to be a sponsor this year. I am head of Scotland for BakerHicks, so I look after the multidisciplinary team at Eurocentral offices. So that is made up of architects, civil and structural engineers, M&E engineers, and our BIM team. And within those teams, we've actually taken on 15 members of staff from New College Lanarkshire who have been involved in this course, and a number of them also through the Worldskills competition. And actually through our sponsorship this year, I'm looking to try and emulate the relationship we've got with New College Lanarkshire at different universities, colleges throughout the UK, and start relationships with our other offices around the UK, because we have seen the quality of the students and the talent that are involved in this competition, and really are some of the best in the industry when they're coming out. Our involvement each year with the students starts through the mock interview process and CVs. We get to know the students through that process. We then get them to come in to BakerHicks and do a week's work experience with us. And every year we are blown away by the quality and the standard that these students are coming into us at. You can see their skills in modelling, but not just in the architectural discipline or BIM discipline. They are so well rounded across the board in their understanding of the other disciplines as well. And that's why out of actually the 15 students we've employed, they are actually dispersed within all of our disciplines, all from the same course. They come into us with a real confidence and maturity in what they're doing, and a real understanding. And that has meant that when we have employed them, they can quickly be on the job. You know, they're straight into projects very quickly. Paul Hudson, who is the current UK gold medal winner, he started working with us last year, and he, you know, within a couple of days, he was actively on a live project, because his skill set is so high that he could go straight into that. So it was fantastic to see. But also on the side of the competition, in terms of not just the modelling capability and that understanding, but it really does give people that the confidence and a different maturity level to go in. You know, going back to Paul was in client meetings very quickly in his career, and it's been great to see how he has developed on that. And that is, you know, it's credit to the course that Michael set up at New College Lanarkshire, and also that Worldskills competition and what each of the students are getting through going through that process. As I say, so that's why you know, this year we've seen the value in that. We've sponsored the competition, but we are hoping as a business to, you know, bring even more people in that are involved in this competition and have them in our London offices, our Warwick offices, in the Manchester team. And actually through Worldskills, we've now got the link ups with those colleges and universities, and we've actually started recently. We went out to one of them and we did the final crit days, and some of our team helped evaluate the final submissions as well. So I really am hoping that in the near future, BakerHicks will have people all over the country that are involved in this Worldskills competition, because that is how important BakerHicks see it in terms of the students that are involved.
For me, I know you've said it, Trevor said it, John said it, just the fact that it was a talent pool. You spoke about for me, it's mock interviews and work placements and stuff with ourselves, with New College Lanarkshire, but obviously, I don't want to steal Alisder's thunder either. I don't know what Alisder's going to talk about, but in 2019, when BakerHicks employed 4 people directly from that competition and put one in BIM, one in architecture, one in structural, and one in building services MEP team, they didn't need the interview and they didn't need the work placement. You saw during the national final how good they were.
Yeah, and I will say also that this year we employed straight from the mock interview. We didn't even wait till the week's work experience, and that's also what happened with Paul last year, because the actual talent shone out straight away at the mock interview process. And actually, as a company, we knew these people were going to be taken on by somebody very quickly if we didn't move fast, because they were so good. So, you know, no work experience required. Mock interview actually became a real interview, and they were offered jobs straight after that process.
And that's Paul, just to kind of explain to everybody, is a year 2. So in Scotland, HNC, year 1 degree, HND is your year 2 of your degree. He was a year 2 student, and I think you employed him in the November, halfway through. He hadn't only just started his second year, and he went on to then win the national final gold medal, as you say. Nicely positioned. Brilliant. Alisder, you get anything to add to that? As my senior BIM coordinator, did I get that title right?
No, principal BIM manager. Good enough.
I think I had it right in the slide though.
Yeah, it was right in the slides. So yeah, I mean, just to tie on at the back of that, really, I just want to discuss how important this competition is for us. So I'm the principal BIM manager at BakerHicks, so I lead the BIM team in the UK in terms of the projects that we're doing externally for BIM information management. We've got a team of about 10 people split over the different offices in the UK, and I was involved, as Michael said, for the first competition for the Worldskills, for the BIM competition. So it was 2018, I think it was. Yeah. So me and my colleague Gary helped support Michael in producing some of the competition content, developing the marking criteria, and myself and Gary were the lead judges for the first 2 competitions. And then obviously COVID hit, so we've not really done much on it since then, to be honest. But following the first competition, we as Michael says, we asked 4 of the students that were in the final for an interview and ended up hiring all 4 of them, just in different departments within BakerHicks. And I suppose the real benefit of doing the competition for us is, me being involved in the competition, is I could see firsthand, the competition itself is like the interview. I can see we help develop the content, so I know what the people are doing, I know what they're capable of. They're some of the key things that they get out of it, like problem solving, which is a big thing, especially in the BIM environment, because there's a theory of BIM, which was the academic side of things, and then there's more the practical side of BIM. This is the way it should be done, but this is really what happens on projects. And doing the competition and working in that environment, going through the steps, like Michael said, that we support and help creating the content. So as the competition is set up by the industry, so as these are the challenges that we have on projects, and it's wee silly things that we add into the questions. We're not going to call them trick questions, I don't think I'm allowed to, but there's we parts of the competition, like understanding, reading through the BIM execution plan, understanding all the other documents, the required asset data requirements on the project. There's a lot of things. It's not just a modeling competition. There's a lot of BIM stuff in there, and it's a big benefit to us when it comes to hiring people. Like I say, we interviewed 4 students and hired all 4 of them into the different departments, and one of them is working down with a AWE, the Atomics Weapons Establishment stuff that we do down south, and one of them is in the BIM team, sits under me, and Darren, and he's now the level that he came in at compared to maybe other students is so much higher. The learning curve for Darren was, not really that much, like Laura mentioned. They come in from this competition and they can pretty much go straight onto projects. There's not so much of a training curve that you see maybe with other students coming in, say for the work experience or whatever. So it's a big benefit to us. It saves us time in training, and they can go straight onto making money working on projects, and it gives us a much higher quality of students and employees, because we know they've been through this process. So yeah, I think, like Michael was saying, is definitely get involved in this. Like I said, I'm involved in the hiring process at BakerHicks, and having the Worldskills for the BIM team anyway, having the Worldskills competition on your CV is a big thing for me. I would take that over a degree, for instance. It's the experience, it's having that practical application of BIM and understanding, the methodologies and what processes need to get carried out to, successfully execute BIM on a project. So it's a big thing to have this under your belt, and regardless whether it's BakerHicks, Balfour, Beatty, wherever you're going to go after college, it'll be very beneficial for you to have this under your belt. So yeah, first step, get registered for the competition and definitely get practicing and take part in it. It'll be really good for you. So I hope to see, I'm hopefully going to be helping Michael with the competition this year for the nationals. So hopefully see you at the competition, and good luck.
Awesome.
Thank
you. You are definitely. If I just share again the next sort of part, and I really do appreciate that. Obviously, that's the reason that Leah is now involved as well, watching, because BakerHicks and Balfour Beatty, for me, my local offices are literally in the same site. Watching, that's quite competitive, isn't it? It's quite good to see, quite competitive, who's competing for the same students, and Worldskills is a great way. Alisder said a fantastic statement there. I literally shared something today that was the companies that are moving away from requiring that students need a degree. That's up to yourself if you still want to go down that route, and you look for the academic side of it, and a lot of companies still push for that. But I shared something today that said they're looking for the practical application of those skills. So show us through your experience, either in a company doing that, or looking at Worldskills, for example, does show that experience. So what learning resources are available to you as a competitor? I have just been asked a question by a tutor. So can the tutors also register to access the materials for the learners? I'm going to show you there are a whole bunch of materials that are available for all the tutors. You don't need to register for that. Ideally, we still want your students to register for the competition. It's the best way to learn and take part. Free software, obviously. Autodesk, our sponsor all the way from 2018. Autodesk.com education/home. And if we Google it, the Autodesk education site, all educators and students in the UK get access to all of the software for free. If you want to take part and you're looking for Revit, Navisworks, etc., it's all there. Most schools, most colleges, universities and so on have the academic licenses. I know certainly we do. And there are also some fundamental resources. So freely available, Autodesk have created the academy.autodesk.com. And if you go into that and look, you will get Revit and Navisworks, etc. So if you're looking for the basics to the fundamentals, though, that kind of intermediate level Revit and Naviswork tutorials, they're there and free. And learnacc.autodesk.com as well. If you're looking for that common data environment that we use in our competition, is the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So we're using Revit, Navisworks, Autodesk Construction Cloud and so on all the way through. Those resources, again, are free. And it's a fantastic playlist for anybody to go through. That's industry or education to work your way through. There is also the Autodesk certification exam. So ACU, Autodesk Certified User. And the person that you can see kind of above me here, Lisa Nicholson, is one of the lecturers at the college that I would say champions the Autodesk certification exams. Something that the comments that Alisder made before about Worldskills, this was before we took part in Worldskills. This is what Alisder used to force our students to take part in. Again, looking at using Revit or AutoCAD, you'll see Fusion, Inventor and so on. For us, Revit. So if you have had the chance to sit the Autodesk Certified User exam in Revit, you have access to, again, the training materials for that through the Autodesk and Prodigy learning sites and so on, Certiport and so on. So there's lots and lots of training available in it. I would suggest that if you've had the opportunity to as a student, and a lot of educators do include this as part of their courses, and you can pass the Autodesk Certified User exam, you're in the right place, you're in that right kind of ballpark. Your level of Revit will be perfect for coming to the competition. Don't look at everything that we've put up and say, wow, these are the best students in the UK. Yeah, at the end of the training they are, at the end of the year or the 2 years they are, at the beginning they can use Revit and they might have a little understanding of BIM, the theory of BIM. Hopefully, actually, Isabel might be able to tell you where she was and how her journey kind of progressed to that. So there we go, there's Alisder and Gary. You can see me kind of blocking both of them. But Alisder and Gary, I think at the very first competition, which would have been in 2018, and Diane Ramage from Kepi Design in Glasgow, another great supporter at the college and Worldskills competition, and was lead judge last year. The ACU accreditation gives me an immediate benchmark of a person's software skills and abilities. Yeah, so putting that badge that we see here on your CV or on your LinkedIn profile to tell people that you've passed it, lets people know your benchmark of your abilities, where's your Revit skill sitting at. So these are all available to you without even registering for the competition. And Alisder and Gary, the ACU accreditation is a great thing to have, as it shows that baseline understanding of the software. Definitely better as a CV to have it included. And I'm sure they said that in unison. Both of them said exactly the same words at the same time. That's just what they are.
We're one.
We're one. If you are registered, these training resources that you can see me kind of a blocking that are here sit on our YouTube channel we've got, and this is what I'll send out to everybody that's registered. So there are 30 plus step-by-step videos that take you all the way through the national final. So not only the passive, it's looking at the national qualifier competition, the national final. So when we look and say, wow, there's 30 plus videos, that's a lot to get through. It is, but we're not looking to get through all of that by April. It also comes with a data set. It has a BIM execution plan, AIDP from BakerHicks or AIR, other documents, instructions. It takes you through every single step and it shows you exactly how to do it. There is nothing in this that's designed to trip you up. The questions are open and it should not be ambiguous. Can you model this building? Can you add classification information to it? Can you extract it, and can you validate it and share it and so on? And every single thing that you would ever be assessed on is covered in these videos. Benefits, it's covering industry workflow, as you've heard from both Balfour, Beatty, BakerHicks. It is covering exactly what they would be doing in the industry. So we're looking at using Revit, Navisworks and ACC. And what we do in the college is we have evaluated our curriculum and we've updated our curriculum. So the Worldskills competition training materials now sit embedded in our curriculum. So all of our students at NCL work through all of these videos and then sit the assessment at the end of it. And it's great training to then put them in a position to take part in the competition. Once you've registered, you will receive this email tomorrow inviting you to this area on New College Lanarkshire's virtual learning environment, which is called Moodle. And it has lots of practice assessments in it. So the practice assessment that's there, and there is data sets and stuff. So you download the data set and run through the practice assessment. Again, it is literally open the BEP. Is this work set name here? And it will provide you a work set name. Is it correct as per the BEP? And you get to say yes, no. I think almost all of it is multiple choice. When you do the practice assessment, it then says you got 20 out of the 30 correct. These 10 you did not. Go watch these videos, and it will link back to the videos that tell you how to do those steps or where to find those answers. Okay, in that same email, I'll send you links to the Autodesk Fundamentals, Learn ACC, and the Worldskills playlist, but you'll also then be given access to here. Now, Moodle is where you'll end up going on, logging into on the 20th of April to sit the little online assessment. You'll download the files, open up a instructions document, do what you're asked to do and type in the answer. If you're doing it for the first time on that day, you'll be lost. You really need to practice just to get used to the environment, the interface. If you've ever used Moodle before, I'm sure you know how to use a Moodle quiz. If you haven't, then you really want to get practicing and using it. The assessment give automatic feedback at each of the stages. And there are badges available as well. So as you work through and you do the practice assessment, you'll get a badge to say you've completed that. A virtual badge, a little digital badge. And as we progress, this is the type of thing that we're looking at for the national qualifier and the national final. So our students last year were asked, or actually 2018 and 2019, we're looking at maybe volume 1 for the national qualifier, which was a one-day competition, and then volumes 2 and 3 for the national final. And we were creating structural elements, we were creating architectural elements, that would be grids using work sets, exactly adding classification unit class 2015 information, extracting that, using Autodesk Construction Cloud, Navisworks class detection, and so on. Really don't let it worry you if you haven't heard of this or you think, I'm not great at that. That's what all of the training is about. We did hear Alisder and Laura speak about the 2018 competition. These were a kind of selection of photos from it, and this is the team. So if we look, there's Florin, now a BIM consultant, Turner Townsend, Vio, who was a judge last year as well, still involved in the competition, and will be this year. He's with Middlesex University, but BIM coordinator at BPTW, Barbara, BIM coordinator, Vidmantis, architectural technologist, Ben, assistant digital engineer, Patricia, BakerHicks, Connor, BakerHicks. And when we spoke about him being within the, was it nuclear team, Alisder had mentioned, Connor, when he was employed, was sent directly to Switzerland to work. So he got to work in Switzerland for quite a wee while before actually coming to BakerHicks in Motherwell and then moving down to the South England. And there's Darren with his bronze medal, having medalled that year, BIM coordinator at BakerHicks. Sophie, BIM coordinator at Kepi Design, and Mona, who also had been taken into BakerHicks and has moved since to Chem Drawing Services as well. But they're from that 1 year, the 4 competitors going on to one company, but every single one of them on the back of that was employed in either architectural or BIM side of the project. So there we go. I am going to stop my share, and I wanted to invite Isabel if I can find, I'm looking for Isabel on my little, so there we go, Isabel. I'm just going to spot you if that's okay. There we go. If you wouldn't mind, can I explain from your point of view how that was? Well, first of all, did you come knowing absolutely everything when you registered the competition?
Not at all. Yeah, so hi, I'm Isabel. I'm a student at Sheffield Hallam University, and I took part in Worldskills last year and made it to the final. So yeah, like Michael said, before joining for the competition, I've been using Revit for about a year, mostly architectural and structural modelling and massing, mostly for like design projects. I knew what BIM 360 was, and that was about it, because we hadn't learned it yet on the course. So at first, watching the videos and looking at the example question documents, it was a little bit daunting. I didn't know what a lot of the terminology meant. So I started watching the training videos and making notes, and it's a very clear step-by-step instructions. So under each question, I was like writing down the different steps that you would need to answer that question. And for the national qualifiers, I was kind of learning the steps and watching the videos, and then using Revit alongside the videos to get some practice. And then after getting through to the finals, I was able to like understand more about why the processes were taking place. So we had training at New College Lanarkshire over the weekend, and we could see where our scores had dropped from the qualifiers and knew which areas to work on. So being able to sit down with Michael and getting like one-to-one, like being able to ask questions on specific things was really helpful, and being able to actually practice knowing why you're doing things, what the data is that you're actually applying to different elements was really useful, and it meant you could spend more time on elements that you didn't know how to do, and being able to problem solve, which was really good. Yeah, so sorry, just looking at my notes.
That's all right.
Yeah, so going into it, obviously I didn't really know what the competition was very much, and now after doing it, the number of skills that I've learned and being able to like quantify and actually test your skills in the competition is really useful, and I feel a lot more prepared for graduating, knowing what to expect in the industry and how the different processes work. And yeah, just want to say really that just putting myself forward to it for the competition, and yeah, just going for it was a really fun experience, and gaining confidence in my skills has been really helpful. Yeah, and it was just a really fun experience. I would recommend just to sign up, even if you're a bit hesitant, and just to go for it.
Perfect, absolutely perfect. And fun, I love it. Fun, stressful but fun. We're trying to have fun. Thing is, that's the biggest one for me. You took part last year and you made it to the final, and the feedback you got was just how much you actually improved was phenomenal. It was superb. Don't just you made it to the final, you got a highly commended award, did you not? Which means you scored really highly, and then you're back this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Delighted. Thank you. And I'm going to replace you with Jeff right now. So let's see if we bring Jeff in. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this, Jeff and Isabel, actually. But Jeff, how have you found it as an educator? How have you seen it? Have you tried to then, I'm looking at what we've done here at NCL and how it's kind of helped influence maybe even the design of the course. Is that something you've been trying to do?
Yes, so hi everyone. My name's Jeff Olner. I'm a senior lecturer at Sheffield Hallam University, and I just want to share my screen. Michael did say I didn't need any flashy graphics, and you haven't got any flashy graphics. You've just got my notes that I can actually see, hopefully on the screen. So we've only been involved with Worldskills really for the last couple of years, but certainly as an educator, it's really opened our eyes as to what Worldskills can offer us as a university, and also what Sheffield Hallam University and our students can also offer the industry as well. And it's just the way that there's a really nice sort of symbiotic relationship between all of the partners involved, which is absolutely fantastic. So if I just have a look, so from an educator perspective then, there are two main areas. The first one is the benefit it has to our students. Our students being able to actually benchmark themselves, not only against their peers actually within our own cohorts within Sheffield Hallam, but also on a national stage as well. And I've probably been saying to Isabel, and other tutors have been saying to Isabel, that, you know, you're up there with the top sort of thing. And with no disrespect, Isabel probably didn't listen, didn't take that until she became involved with the Worldskills, and then suddenly realized, yes, this is the level that she was actually at. So in terms of confidence building, it is just worth every single second of the effort that you put in into the competition. We've also noticed that this, whilst part of this is now embedded within our actual core content, course content at Sheffield Hallam, it is very much down to the students to sort of like engage in their own time effectively. So it does demand a level of commitment, but what it does identify to us as educators are the students who are willing to go the extra mile, go above and beyond with their studies to actually, you know, enhance their prospects, etc. So, you know, it's a win-win for us, basically. The other thing, and also speaking last, everyone's kind of stolen my thunder already, but from a sort of pedagogical reasoning, we have now at Sheffield Hallam completely changed our actual delivery of building information modelling and Revit, etc. We have for a long time been undertaking the user certification, etc. But Worldskills has given us a complete new level of delivery that we've been able to add into our course content. And the main thing is that is at an industry cutting edge sort of standard. So consequently, whilst we thought we were delivering what was required, what we've now got is third-party accreditation effectively from industry to say this is actually what we require, and building it into our actual standard delivery. So in terms of, again, from an educator perspective, this is also, our involvement with Worldskills has also increased our profile nationally as a university with leading students. So consequently, we're singing, blowing our trumpet loud and hard as much as we can about, you know, how our students are progressing through their courses, etc. And also we're using it to also advance the sort of marketing of particularly architectural technology, which is still very underrated across the whole of the construction industry within the UK. But it is becoming very much more at the forefront, given the skills that our architectural technologists are leaving Sheffield Hallam and also other educational establishments as well. So looking at improving employability. So at Sheffield Hallam, we're an applied university. We have vocational courses, and effectively we're demonstrating by our engagement within Worldskills exactly how employable our students are at a national and potentially international level. The other significant thing as well is that we've got now exposure to materials that are being led by industry leaders, etc., which is also striking up partnerships between Sheffield Hallam and the industry. So we've got collaboration, digital collaboration with partners. We're also embedding in the standards that the industry is requiring, and also data exchange, COBE, etc. So basically, at the end of, upon graduation, our students are effectively able to go out into industry being ready, oven ready for doing the job that the industry is requiring them to do. So links with industry, like I say, we've now developed this sort of partnership. So this is both from students being employed out into industry, but also at Sheffield Hallam, we'd like to think that with our involvement with Worldskills, we're actually able to, we've demonstrated a sort of recruitment process from practice. So practitioners who are actually looking to maybe put students through a degree apprenticeship type training, then Sheffield Hallam may well come to the forefront of their list, and then hopefully we'll be able to transfer them around to actually being employable at the end of their time at Sheffield Hallam. So I think that's probably all I've got to say regarding that.
But
Okay.
Absolutely fantastic to hear, though. It is very current, very, very current, what you're discussing as well. Do you know what I actually noticed was when everybody else has come on and they introduced ourselves, and I just blurted off and just started. But for those that don't know me, you've seen me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you all had the invite. It was Michael Maguire. But I am the competition organising partner, so I'm assisting other industry professionals to actually design and run this competition, and I work closely with Worldskills on that side. But I have another vested, very selfish interest. I'm also Worldskills UK training manager. So if we have young students who then aspire and they score highly enough and they go to the team, the Worldskills squad, it's myself that trains them for 2 years. And I take those 3 students or 5 students, however many is in the squad, and we train them for 2 years. Laura mentioned that Paul is part of the team right now squad. It's Mona, Paul and Taylor were the best 3 young people to compete and have been training now for some time. And in a couple of weeks, I am training them this weekend. We're here training. So if you watch me on LinkedIn, you will see it. They're here this weekend, but next weekend, so Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday, Tuesday, they compete. And the winner of that competition is the person that should go to Shanghai in October and represent Team UK. It's if you have a little look at it, Worldskills Kazan was the latest one. Google it and look on YouTube at the opening ceremony. It is vast. It is absolutely huge. And if you think instead of being the fastest to run 100 meters or throw a javelin the furthest or swim the quickest, it's looking at that type of thing, but it's trades. So who is the best welder? Who's the best bricklayer? Who is the best digital construction student in the UK? So some takeaways before we kind of open it to question and answers, and we do have one that's in there, but some takeaways is make sure that you're registering. If you register today, you'll access the latest competition-specific training resources tomorrow. You'll get an email from me and the team sending you that link to register for that. It's not about winning, but people here have that competitive streak, I'm sure. And it says, even if you don't win, right, only one person can win a gold medal, right? Only one person from the hundreds of people that will actively participate this year, but every single one of them will have access to the best training in the UK. So we say if not the world, because we're not sure yet. If our student who goes on, our competitor who goes on and becomes Team UK, then goes on to Shanghai and wins, then it becomes the best training material in the world, right? But currently it's only the best in the UK. And it does certainly, as you've heard from everybody, improve your skills and your chance of employability as well. Our competition is not age limited. Some countries do, we do not. we say our competition is designed for students of any age because we want anybody to be able to compete if you're on a level 6 course. So that's quite important. So it's designed for level 6. In Scotland, the equivalent of that is level 9. It actually means the same thing, it's just numbered differently, but you're looking at your degree. If you're on a master's course, it's a level 7, but if you graduated within 12 months ago from level 6, then you still qualify. We do have to look at experience. Unless you're a registered apprentice, you're not allowed any more than 1 year's experience as well. It is really designed for students, right? We're attempting to benchmark curriculum and assess curriculum and student skills. There may be international opportunities if you are 22 and younger taking part and you score above a certain benchmark. You may then be invited to join the squad. You've heard some people say about the amount of training. You can't underestimate the amount of training that these 3 young people I've had have done for the past 2 years. And then the competition was updated every 2 years. It is definitely relevant. That is the biggest thing for me. It is relevant. And for the 3rd time or 4th time in this presentation, the word fun gets used. Who would have thought digital construction actually should be fun? It is stressful, of course it is, but it should be enjoyable, right? Should be enjoyable. You should really enjoy doing this, or maybe you have to look at a different career. But there's Henry was asking, how can other HEI academics and collaborate with Worldskills UK like Sheffield Hallam does? Feel free to message me directly. As the training manager, as the competition organising partner, I'll work with many institutions to make sure that you have access to the latest training materials that are there. And yep, can we confirm the date of the regional, the national qualifier for the 8th of June? Yep, let's have a look. So I've got a little message in saying, can we just confirm that? March, April, May, June. Yes, June 8th is the national qualifier. That's right. So if I stop the share, and then we can do a spotlight there. Oh, we've added Jeff as well. There we go. So it's now just me. If anybody has any direct questions, please feel free. You can ask them tonight in this, or if it's something that springs up to you when you're driving home from tonight, you think, I wish I'd asked this, you have my contact details and feel free to ask me anything at any time. Would anybody like to ask anything? You can use the chat or you can unmute yourself. You have the ability to unmute yourself if you want to do that.
There's a question on the chat.
Yep. Which one was that?
How can other HEI academic?
Oh yeah, I did answer that. Yep, you just need to message me directly and I will liaise with you. Do you have my contact details?
No.
I will put that in the chat then.
Thank you.
There you go. So WSUK at nclan.ac.uk, and if you send an email to that, I'll liaise with you as the competition organising partner and Worldskills training manager. Interestingly, I have just been promoted at Worldskills International. My new title is the Digital Construction Chief Expert, and I'll be there to support the other experts that go from every other country, apparently. So that'll be interesting, seeing as it's our first time actually hosting a competition, and I'm still unsure as to what that role is, but I'm sure we'll find out when we get there. Thanks.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. I say promotion. Is it? Thank you.
Right. Well done.
Anybody got any students that have any questions, or any other educators? Or
I've got a quick one, Michael. Good to
Yes.
see you. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Well
we know Mo very well.
Yes. And good to see you, Philip, as well. Good to see you, Jeff, and everyone. It's good to be back really face to face. Just a quick one, really. International students who have joined level 7 in the UK, so I've done the undergraduate elsewhere. What is the level of eligibility for them to join?
Was that we have to look at the level, as long as it's leveled the same, yeah. And they can, we have to look at maybe a certification of that to prove it is the same level. But yeah, and that was done within the past 12 months.
Okay.
Yep. And they're now resident here. They're resident here and on this course.
No, they are resident here. They are doing a full-time course in the UK. So
Yep.
for them, So they can register, can they?
Yeah, they should be able to register, yeah. But what I would ask is, so they are now on level 7, which is Masters.
Level 7 Masters,
What are they
yes.
doing after that? Because we're still going to need them here in November, remember?
Right.
So the competition cycle goes all the way to November. So if they're after the course leaving, then they can't compete, no. They have to still be here for November, right?
No, they will still be, well, they will not get their results until end of November.
Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. As long as if the certification's from overseas, we just need to prove, we need to get it leveled to make sure it's level 6. That's it. Equivalent.
Okay, so to provide a safe nest first, let them just register and then we look afterwards.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Absolutely.
Always a great help.
And if they register, they'll get access to the materials straight away anyway, so.
Of course. And the materials, of course, will, okay, so anybody who registers will get access to the materials. It's not available online for everybody to access now.
Most of it is, but for anybody who registers will get access to it. Basically, the only thing that's there, all the training everyone gets. The only thing that people need to register for is the practice assessment, the practice test area. That's it.
Oh, I remember that one. Yes, you mentioned. Yes.
All the videos are free to everybody. All of the training is free to everybody. The only thing that you need to register for is to access Moodle to get the practice test. That's it. So all the educators and all the students get all the training free.
Right. So the videos are the same ones as where. Yep. Okay, great. Thank you.
So what happens is in the Moodle platform is if they score low in a certain area, it directs them to those videos and they go to the YouTube channel and watch the videos. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
There's no additional training materials, just the test. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just go ahead.
Over to you, Phil.
No, I was just saying, so thanks also, Michael, for the presentation, and thanks very much, I think, for the great industry engagement. So I think it's really important to really connect the talented students in the UK to the best employers in the UK. So thanks very much for that. Also, really to emphasize again is that we really encourage everyone who is interested to register and be part of it. So Worldskills, as also Isabel mentioned, and also to a couple of other statements which came tonight, where it's a learning experience and it's a skill building experience. So you ultimately have nothing to lose competing in that competition, participating. You can only win. And I really want to stress this out, because some people might think, oh, there's a lot of things and there's so many, good students in there. And this is also back to the example which Jeff mentioned, or also Isabel said, is that, once you get engaged, once you look at the materials, once you learn, and once you dive into it, you really get really interested to do more and get engaged. So, as I said, definitely, if you're not sure if you want to compete or not, please register. As I said, once you are starting the process of being engaged in the competition, you will definitely continue on the path. And we would love you to be part of that group as well.
Perfect. And actually something for the educators, Laura had mentioned from BakerHicks as well. BakerHicks have worked closely with ourselves here at New College Lanarkshire, and the biggest thing that we had recently was Laura's company is, obviously BakerHicks is national all over the UK, and they're now working with lots of other universities and colleges all over the UK as a direct result of that. So even for the educators, if you want to work with some of the industries that we work with, just again, message me, send me an email, and we can kind of deal with that. But no one can take part if you don't register, right? So first step, get registered. Absolutely. Do it tonight, and then you can get that email from me tomorrow.
Yeah, and then I think one thing which is also important, we definitely want to grow this competition. So we are interested in having more and more educational institutions taking part in there. And one thing we're doing right now with this hub approach, where we have different hubs in different regions, is that we want to level up the regions. So we want to empower the regions more and more to participate and to drive more and more competitors also locally. So we definitely, if you're new to this presentation, if that's the first time you heard it, definitely, get engaged and so on. There are opportunities also to become hubs in certain regions of the UK where we currently don't have hubs. So please definitely get engaged.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And again, if you have any questions, so is there only proficiency test for only Revit, Navisworks, and is it ACC? So we have lots of, but the ones that we use in this competition are Revit and Navisworks, right? So we have the Autodesk certification exams is for Revit.
Yes, correct. So certification is for Revit, but it's not a requirement. So what Michael has presented also is a best practice.
Yeah.
Where he and other institutions, also like Sheffield Hallam, they are using Autodesk Certified User as part of their curriculum and as part of their teaching as well, along with other educational institutions around the UK. So this is something you can do, but it's not something you must do. And we have people who won the competition who also didn't have a certification in other countries before. So don't take this as a must-have. It's a good to have. So the entry criteria really is to be interested to learn. That is the entry
awesome
criteria.
And Jack has messaged, are there any sample projects? Yes. So in that 30 plus video data set that's there, so you get 30 plus videos, you get a data set, the instructions, the BIM execution plan, AIR, etc. You will see a structural model that is an example of the regional and national qualifier up to national final level, and then you'll see the architectural model, etc. as well. So yeah, that definitely takes you through it. Absolutely, that shows you a good example of the benchmark, let's say.
And also, Ashish, I saw your question about infrastructure and vertical. So what is a good question you're asking. So we're currently working on developing a new competition, which is for digital infrastructure design specifically. So within the digital construction competition, this is only, let's call it horizontally. This is only buildings, and these are everything which comes with that. But if you're looking into road and highway design and rail, this is a different competition which we're aiming to launch in the future. If that's an area of interest, feel free to reach out to us and let us know. Then we can explore if that's an opportunity of launching that in the UK.
Yep. Perfect. Well, hopefully I see everybody registered, and you can all look forward to an email from me tomorrow. I will send out links to all the videos to everybody. So we'll get this recording, but also the training and data set and stuff. Everything that I've showed you tonight, I'll send links for everything into that email. Okay. Yep. Good luck, everybody. That's a great message. Well done, Jeff. Good luck, everybody. And hopefully you enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll speak to you all soon.